Hi, today we're going to be going over how to use KeyCite on Westlaw. KeyCite is one of its very best features. It's a crucial feature to use when you're trying to make sure that you're citing only good law. KeyCite is what's called a citator. You use it to find out if the case that you want to use is still good law. Has it been reversed? Has it been vacated? Is it still cited as an important case in a lot of other cases? Was there any kind of change to the statutes because of it? Is there any negative thing that you need to know about before you actually use it as authority in a legal document? You also use it to see if other cases have cited yours. If so, have they treated it? Have they maybe reversed it? Have they looked at it and discussed it in depth? You want to see what they've done with it, and you also want to see, because of that, are there any better or any later cases that you also want to use? You can use it to find other materials that might have cited the case, not just cases themselves, but also things like articles or treatises that might explain or analyze it. Key citing a case on Westlaw is extremely easy. When you bring the case up, as I did here with Damon versus State, what you'll have is a bar running across the top of the case that tells you various things. This actually is a KeyCite bar that tells you about all of the different things that you can find with KeyCite on this one case alone. So right here, you have the document itself. You can click on that if you're away from it at any reason. At any time looking at one of these other things, just click back on document to get back to this case. But you've also got filings listed. Filings are going to be things like maybe briefs and other cases, motions that have been filed that cite this case. Not as useful as some of the other things that you'll find, but you might want to look and see what's there. You have negative treatment. If there was any negative treatment of this case, if it had been reversed, if it had been vacated, anything like that, that would be listed here. But right now you have it kind of dimmed out, so you don't really see anything with it. What you will see very dimly there is negative treatment, 0. So your case is still good as far as being good law. Now, after that, you have history, and there are 9 things in the history of the case. These are things that directly involve the parties in this case, and they may be where it was in a lower court. They may be citing where it was in a higher court, then remanded, but you'll be able to tell the history of the case from that. Then you have the citing references. There are 17 of those, and cited with is 30. Cited with is where you can see how your case has been used with other cases as well. Other cases that maybe say something similar. You have the table of authorities listed there, which will give you the authorities that were used in this particular case. So you have all of this laid out for you, and in the tabs at the very top, you can choose which ones to go to. Here's what you get if you clicked on history, where at the top it says history in parentheses 9. You get the direct history of this case, what happened to it. The State versus Damon case was affirmed in part, reversed in part, and remanded by Damon versus State. Now this is the case that we were looking at originally, and you will see that it's kind of highlighted here, and it makes it very clear this is the one that you were at originally, and here's what happened to it before, and here's what happened to it later. Following that, you have the Citing References tab. Now, the Citing References is where it's going to tell you how your case has been used by other cases. The first thing that you have here is that it was cited by a case called Graham versus State, and there are a few things to note here. One of them is that you have, following the name Graham versus State, you can see 2 quotation marks right there in green. They're a little bit small on this slide, but you will be able to see that there is a green quotation mark there. What that means is that when you look in the Graham case, you'll see where it actually cites the Damon case and gives a quotation from it. So the quote marks mean that your case has actually been quoted for some reason, not just cited. You'll also see over at the side depth. That refers to depth of treatment. This is where you can tell, has your case been discussed in full? Has it been analyzed a lot in this particular case that cites it? Has it been maybe just a part of a string of several citations that are just kind of thrown in there to back up a particular point, but not really discussed? Think of these as the bars that you would get on your phone showing how much power something has. This is a 2-bar case. And so what that means is that your case has been discussed to some extent, but mainly it's used to back up a particular point in this case. It's not going to be one of the better ones to look at if you're trying to get a really good knowledge of the Damon case, but it will give you some insight. Following that, or actually over to the left-hand side in that red box, you'll see where it breaks down what it is that you've got citations to here. There are several citing references, but only 3 of them are cases. The rest are trial court orders, possibly helpful. Secondary sources, yes, you want to go look at those probably, because if this is an important case to you, you want to see, are there any maybe legal treatises that have told how this can be used in court? Or are there other things that maybe will be helpful to you? You've got appellate court documents and you've got trial court documents here. So this will give you an indication of all of those different things that cite your case. As far as cases cited with, and this is that cited with tab, you've got 3 cases here. You can see this over in the blue box next to these 3 co-citing cases. That usually refers to cases that are on the same point of law that are used alongside it in most of the documents that cite Damon versus State. So you may want to click on this, see what those other cases are, and then look at those as well. Just a couple of things to remember about KeyCite. It isn't just for cases. You can use it for other secondary sources. You can use it to check statutes, other legal materials, both to see if they're still good, especially with statutes, or also to see how they've been used. You can also use it more quickly if you type the letters case C and then the case citation. If you already know a case citation that you want to key cite, you don't have to bring up the case first. Just type in case C and then the case citation, which will take you directly to KeyCite. And most important thing, always check a case's history and check other citations before you use it as authority. See how it's used and make sure that it's still good law. If you have any more questions about this or any more research questions at all, please drop us an email at lawrefgp@law.stetson.edu. Give us a call at 562-7821. Drop by our offices in the reference room or drop by the reference desk. We're always glad to help, and we live for law. Thank you.